do I have to be with you while you discover those things for yourself?
You don't believe in the mold. Right. You don't think the mold is different. Yeah, you can't say that.
I know. I'm not with that. I'm not with that. Because if you're not gonna be with me at the bottom, then don't join me when I'm at the top.
So you could be with someone and not be with someone.
You gotta realize that.
Because you don't have things to work on, and like you can't do that together.
But so what?
Okay, but if you don't,
I'm 21. I ain't about to let somebody drag me down.
I was living with somebody I didn't fuck with, that my mom brought into the house, that because she liked him, mind you, from rip I said, yo, get that nigga out, because I'm not fucking with him. And I don't know why it took her 10 years to see that shit, that she, not only was she in a toxic relationship herself that she wasn't seeing, where a lot of verbal abuse was present, but she now brought that into her home, where she has a young son developing, trying to become a man, and now he can't even come into his own person because he's so afraid to do one thing wrong, to not remember to take out the trash equals a 30-minute berating session or a smack on the wrist. Like, bro, it's the trash. Take it easy. Like, just tell me and I'm gonna do it right now. Like, relax. So I think with my parents, it was like, I love my mom dearly and I respect a lot of the things that she's done, but I don't think she knows truly how much that 10-year span really like lasted my whole life. Like, it felt like it lasted my whole life, and I'm just like starting to get over it now. Wow, that was deep. Sorry, guys.
No. Growing up, I was like chubby, all this and that and whatever, and it used to be like little things like she'll tell me like suck in my stomach when I'm like walking outside, or like my dad would tell me I need to go on diets and this and that or whatever. And like, damn, I haven't even never talked about this verbally out here like this before. But like, it was just so many toxic things that like, my parents love me, I know that, and they care for me a lot. But it was more like, now that I'm grown, I understand that they weren't putting hate on me. It was them trying to protect me, but in the worst ill manner way that led to so many things in my life where I just felt like it built a wall, because like it felt like my family was always criticizing me. Like they only I feel like they only showed me like physical love or happiness like when I was like now, like I'm like the perception of like beauty to them, like, oh, she's like thin, she's like beautiful, so like she has her life together, so like we're happy for you. But like I understand that they only wanted that for me because like what they went through. Like my dad's a dark-skinned man, so like he's 60, he's like in his 70s, so he grew up in an era time like where being a dark-skinned man wasn't okay, it wasn't accepted, and he never wanted me and my sister to go through that. So like one time he like told me that like he prayed when, like before I was born, like that wasn't going to be dark-skinned, because he didn't want me to ever go through what he went through. So I understand why they did what they did, but it's not okay what they did.
Do you think they, sorry to cut you off, do you think that parents should now start to take initiative at a younger age of the child? Because I feel like children now, since they have easy access to the internet, have easy access to more information and kind of social trends. Do you think that maybe if they had taken the time to explain more in depth why they were telling you what they wanted you to look like or what they wanted you to be, would you have felt differently about it?
No, because like it would just be, well, I don't want to say no, but it was just always berating, because it would just be in front of people too. So like we'll just be like a family gathering. I'm eating mac and cheese, but my helping of mac and cheese seems to be bigger than most, because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, I want to eat. And then my dad would just be like, oh, you need to go on a diet, blah, blah, blah. And it would just be like, okay, I feel attacked. And it just made me build up a wall, because it's just like your own family is just putting this type of hate on you, but it's not hate, but it's like, it needs to be a form of communication. I feel like that's where it is. Like they didn't know how to communicate with me, and I didn't know how to communicate with them because I didn't want to communicate with them. Like, why would I want to talk to people or share my feelings with people that I feel like are constantly criticizing me and putting ridicule upon me? So it was more of a communication type of thing. And I'm just now building a relationship with my family where I feel like okay to talk to them or share certain things about my life, because like before then I would just really was a mute. Like I didn't say anything. I didn't really talk about anything. They didn't know anything that went on in my life.
Yes. I spent most of my life in Africa. Like I grew up there. So it's like I have two different perspectives in life. And it's like my mom and my dad, they like assimilated to this whole Ghanaian way of life. It's like, we didn't bring you here to be like a singer, we brought you here to be a doctor and lawyer. It's like, their definition of love is like, I cooked for you today. The lights are on. That's love. But it's like, in the generation we live in, it's like I feel like people don't know how to give love and receive love in a sense. So it's like my mom and dad don't know how to like what that real compassion is because their parents never did that. That was all they were taught. The lights are on, I got you clothes, that's it. But it's like love is deeper than that. So it's like if you grew up with all that, to cut somebody off like that, I think that's harder than saying like, oh, I'm in a relationship with you and like it's not working out. That's it. This is somebody that your life has been based on for 22 years of your life. Like that's different.
So I agree with your idea of love, and I think the reason why it's easy for me to cut people off is because I grew up an only child, so I only really needed me. Because my mom was working 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So when she left in the morning, I wasn't even awake yet to go to school. And when she came home and went to bed. So there was no conversation, there was no foundation, there was no time to build a significant relationship where I could go to her with my issues, or I could go with her to my problems, or I could tell her about this and that. So if that's this is the only person that I get to see every day, and I don't have an opportunity to build an understanding of what love is with this person, then I don't have that opportunity with anybody. So if I can cut her off, what makes you think you're better than my mom? Period. Like, anybody can get cut. Like, really anybody can get cut. And the thing is, like, again, like I've basically grown up and brought myself here. Like, it's not like she spent time helping me with my homework. Yes, she provided the financial backing for me to attend this university. She provided the financial backing for me to succeed in my academics at school and my sports at school. But other than that, I learned all my shit myself. It's not like I came in here with trash ass grades and she paid the whole tuition. I came in here with bomb ass grades. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, just providing for you should be love enough where you need a little bit more respect to cut somebody off. But at the same time, if I don't have that relationship with you, it's not going to affect me, regardless of what you did for me.
Kind of off that, you said you were an only child, so like it made you not need anyone. I was also an only child, and I feel like I grew up in an environment, even though I didn't have my father, my mom was always very, very loving. Like, that's my best friend. Like, I love her to death. And I think that as I get older, I grew up in an environment where I had unconditional love from like my mom. Like, no matter what happened in the world, I always knew she was there. So I think as I get older and like express love to other people, it's hard for me to cut people off because I grew up in an environment where there's nothing I could do to where my mom wouldn't like love me at the end of the day. So I think my style of love is to give that to other people, and like sometimes it's really like draining, sometimes, but. Yeah.
But isn't that forgiveness though?
I'm very forgiving.
Yeah, so but you can still cut somebody off at the drop of a pin, but you're just gonna forgive them when they realize they fuck up and they come back.
I don't think I've realized that yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, because that's me. Because that's dead ass me. Like, it don't matter who you are, you can get cut off. But as long as you come back to me with energy, like, oh, I'm trying to like, listen, I'm sorry that I did what I did. If I had some fault, I will admit that shit too. Like, I want us to come to an understanding. Like, I don't like holding grudges. I don't really like to hold grudges. But if I feel like you're on some disrespectful shit, and you're not gonna come and speak about the disrespectful shit, or we're not at least gonna have a conversation about how things transpired, then I will continue to act like I don't need you, and you're gonna feel it.
You have to be able to like, not like endure like their toxic traits, but like you have to know like how to like maneuver and like also like embrace it in a way that like it's not like enhance their toxic traits, but like also like check them, like hey, like you're not like you're being toxic, or like you're wilding for whatever the case may be, and like you love them regardless of their toxic traits.
Right, you look past it, but you also put them to the side and have a conversation, right?
Or let's grow together and like clear that toxic trait, so we can just like let's just grow. Let's grow and clear that toxicity out.
Kind of like what she said. It's like, who are you going to allow to like get on your like nerves constantly for the rest of your life, like to like grow with. So like I feel like there's like no such thing as a perfect person, no such like thing as a perfect relationship. So I mean, it's like once again, like who are you going to let, or like who's like worth your like time.
You just kind of have to set that line, like what do you tolerate, what are you gonna tolerate? Because like toxic, like when you think of toxic is like something that's poison. That's something that's like continuously like dying. Like that's not something for your good. And I know sometimes like we kind of like look past the toxic traits because we love them so much. but that also becomes draining on like ourselves. So I personally believe, I believe like it can coexist, but how much of yourself are you willing to sacrifice in order to deal with their toxic traits? Even though you love them, but you can love people from a distance. Like there's 7 billion people in this world. Like there's so many people that like you can end up with, like you can match with. You know what I'm saying? Like don't put all your like. If somebody's being toxic and like you address that shit and they still being toxic, why are you still doing that to yourself?
Easier said than done.
It's easier said than done. I always bring it back to the numbers. There's 7 billion people in this world. There's 4 billion women, 3 billion men. So choose one.
That's true.
So choose one.
They're not the same.
They're not the same.
We're talking about one love that right here. Be like, it touches the heart a certain way.
But I also think intention is important. Like I don't think that, like I feel like one of the biggest issues that I have, just like in hearing what this generation speaks about in love, I feel like we're mad quick to like end things and cut people off.
Yeah.
Like you can do what you want, protect your relationship, all that, but like there's people that are married for like 55, 60 years.
You
like if you think about it,
really thugging it out.
This
At the same time, are you required to thug it out? Like if I gotta wake up to you every day for the rest of my life,
that's a different conversation. I feel as though like kind of like what like you said, there like there has to be a line to like cross, like folks will get on your like nerves regardless, but like until they like cross that line, like I don't think like you should just say, oh I'm like done because you talked too like much or like you stink.
Sometimes you gotta be like empathetic too. Because it's like, okay, yes, they could be toxic, but I don't know. Like in certain situations, you might be hit with, okay, but I know the intent behind them. Like they're a good person. This could have just been a bad moment. Do I love them enough to sit here and help them with this shit, or am I gonna like discard them because?
And especially at this age, I feel like at this age, like we're going through like a lot of things are happening for the first time. Like there's a lot of mistakes you're gonna make at 20, 21, 22. That like if you're in a relationship, like it's gonna happen and it's gonna come up and someone's not gonna like it. But I think there's a difference between mistakes and like toxicity. And I think that it's important, like if you love someone like for real, to understand like this is a toxic person versus this is a person who's growing up, might have to like discover some things about themselves. Like I think there's a difference between that.
And you know what I think a lot of people don't respect? I think a lot of people these days don't respect the person that sticks around even though like you did them dirty. Like you dead like I've been here, you done me dirty multiple times and I'm still here. So like when are you gonna realize like this is love? Like feel this.
It could
like
be
you know
love.
what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people confuse like I'm gonna be here regardless for love when it's really just there to integrate or leave. I think there's a balance.
That's a fact.
Well, can't relate to insecurities, but
that's good.
But like I said, like some people like I think, and I was just talking about this with my LB yesterday, is that there's like you can dead ass have love for somebody and they will not even notice that shit because they're sitting over here thinking about somebody else that's constantly doing them dirty. So now they're coming back to you because they know that you're always going to be there for them, holding them down.
Why do you allow that to happen?
Huh? Why
do you force yourself to do? Like no one's making you do that. Like it's comfortable, but like that shit. Why do you allow yourself to continuously be drained by people like who don't care? Who don't, like you said, they're worrying about somebody else. They're not worrying about you. So why are you putting all that energy towards them when they're not putting shit towards you?